The world is healing, the gay community is healing, and it's all thanks to Charli XCX. Now, there's actually a lot to dive into. I knew I had to sit down, record myself talking about this because it's very important to me. It changed my life. I am really big into music, which is like no surprise. I talk about it all the time to my friends. I like posted about it all the time. You know, growing up, my dad taught me so much. So I've always been so into like rock and metal because of him. All of my tattoos are music related. I'm getting more soon. But then there's the guilty pleasure of liking pop music so much. It's not even like a guilty pleasure. Like there's nothing to feel guilty about. Like pop music is awesome and I love it. I think my holy trinity of genres is like rock, metal, and then pop. But specifically, I do want to talk about pop music and some artists that deserve like a lot more recognition. And I'm not saying they're like, okay, they are close. They are close to really being like categorized as main pop girls, but there was a time, and if you were on Tumblr especially, like there was a time where there was like this select group, just like this like small community that listened to like certain artists that have done so much, and they just continue to grow to this day, and it's really impressive. Today specifically, I will be talking about Charli XCX. Obviously, she's gonna be the star of this video, cause queen. But Marina, formerly known as Marina and the Diamonds, and Lorde, the three of them have recently done things that I cried for a little bit earlier, and I was like, we're sitting down and we are going to make a video on this, because like, what is going on? Okay, but first, we do have to like dive back into like 2012 going to like 2015, I would say, like that era. Like the girlies were on Tumblr, like these girlies were coming out with their music and they were new to the industry. Lives have changed, obviously, but like I said, it wasn't like, they were never as big as like Lady Gaga, who I love, or like, you know, Beyonce, Rihanna. Like this was something different. This is something that's so special. I am so excited, so excited to just, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just start rambling. There's a lot I want to say, actually. So everybody is connected somehow. And first, we're just going to kind of talk about a little bit about like Charli XCX and like her friendship with Lorde. When Charli XCX came out with like True Romance, it was a flop at first, and then Sucker came out and everyone was like, boom, clap. So like she's known for that, right? Lorde released Royals. And like, do I need to say anything? It was Royals off of Pure Heroin. This was like around the same time. It was huge. I believe it all started when an interviewer mistook Charli for Lorde and asked her about Royals. I don't know if that was staged or if it was real, but that's kind of how it started. And since then, there have been jokes about like Charli and Lorde actually being the same person because they look alike, they kind of sound similar, like they're both like coming out at like the same time and doing something with music. They've got the same hair, referenced later. And recently Charli actually did talk about like how at the time she did feel jealous of all the success that Lorde was getting, and she was like, why can't that be me too? And I think we've all been there. We watch someone and then we feel a little bit of jealousy and we're like, kind of want what they have. So it's only human nature. Now, what does Marina have to do with any of this? Well, she and Charli were friends. Marina was really supportive, and the two of them were friends. Like they were cool. They would hang out together. Charli was her opening act for the Lonely Hearts Club. Didn't want to mess that up. Tour. So this is when Electra Heart was out, and this was the Electra Heart era. So it was like Charli's True Romance and Marina's Electra Heart that I believe it kind of like clashed. So the two of them were friends. Unfortunately, you know, later when Marina released her third album, which was Fruit, there was some drama there. Okay, sorry, we are back, but I just came home from work. I'm tired, but I am not done talking. Basically, Fruit's theme was fruit. It was very vibrant. Like, obviously I'll put up examples, you know, just from like Marina's photo shoots during like the Fruit era. And the thing is, Charli also did a photo shoot for an advertisement on perfume. I'll correct myself if that's wrong. Hairspray, sorry. And of course, you know, I'm gonna put two and two together, and then, you know, Marina was a little salty because she was looking at it as, this looks a lot like fruit. This looks a lot like what I just did. That fruit looks familiar, which is her iconic comment on Charli XCX's Instagram post at the time. She actually went on to subtweet Charli XCX on Twitter, you know, saying that like, imagery is artistic property. Please respect your fellow artists. And you know, so Charli responded to it and was like, this is directed at me, right? Well, whatever, sending positive vibes. And the two, I guess, fell out because Marina was petty and mad, went on to subtweet Charli instead of talking to her directly. I will say right now, I'm kind of more on Charli's side about it, but I don't think either of them are really actually at fault, because I think that the photographer, because it was the same photographer, by the way, I guess I could have mentioned that before, but it was the same photographer for both the fruit photo shoot, you know, all the visuals and what does this mean? And then the hairspray thing. Okay, same photographer. Really, when you're in the industry and it's just, inspiration is everywhere. People get inspired and then they create something new with what inspired them. And that's not a bad thing if there's still originality to it. Like, there are such things as a complete ripoff. This wasn't one of those. Unfortunately, though, it did cause, you know, beef between Charli and Marina. Breaks my heart, really. So moving on, there isn't exactly a connection between Marina and Lorde. Nothing really between them. It was really just like Charli was the one involved with like both Marina and Lorde, and like there was some shit going on, right? Charli and Lorde never had like a public fight. Like, as far as we know, it wasn't anything like what happened with the fruit drama. It's just we did get to learn throughout the years how Charli felt about Lorde's career. You know, like I mentioned, there was like that jealousy. The two seemed to talk about collaborating. It never really happened. And then Lorde comes out with like her own kind of statement about it, but now we're like way ahead. Like that's for later. Honestly, the three of them really just kind of did their own thing up until now. What kind of sucks, in my opinion, is that Marina is kind of like the least relevant one here. Like, in recent years, the hype has really been about Charli XCX, and everyone's been very curious about like, oh, are her and Lorde finally going to give us something? Like, we need to eat good. I believe it was either 2013 or 2014, there was an unofficial release of Just Desserts, which is a collab between Charli and Marina. The song really isn't that good, if I'm completely honest. Like, they could definitely, you know, like send each other a text one of these days and be like, let's create something better. But whatever. Just a little bit more on Charli XCX and her like career throughout the years. I think just like the jump from Sucker to Vroom Vroom, especially, like, it's a lot. Now, actually, I'm here today because a certain gentleman, and he knows who he is, told me to listen to Charli's album, How I'm Feeling Now. And let's just say I got that track list tattooed on my thigh, so we all know how I feel about that. Yeah, I would say I'm a huge fan, and it only gets better. On June 7th, 2024, Charli XCX released her 6th studio album, Brat. I'm just gonna say, album of the year. It's incredible. Thank you, Charli, for feeding us. Still waiting for new music from both Marina and Lorde, but back to Brat. Now, there is a song on that album called Girl So Confusing. And at first, it kind of sounded like it was a diss track towards a certain someone. It isn't though, like Charli even said that herself. So the song is called Girl So Confusing because sometimes it is quite confusing to be a girl. And all girls can relate to that. Sorry boys, this one is not for you. However, it's the lyrics in particular that like it makes it so obvious who she's actually singing about here, even though like she didn't confirm it when the album first came out. It's like she's trying to talk to someone who's not actually there. That's kind of like what I got from it. And she's just kind of venting her feelings about like, we're supposed to be girls, you know? I want to be a girl's girl. I want to be her friend. But like, what's going on? Because this is confusing. That's why the song is called Girl So Confusing. There's more shit to it, right? With lyrics like, people say we're alike. We've got the same hair. We talk about making music, but I don't know if it's honest. I think that alone is like, yeah, this is definitely about Lorde. However, I'm not going to name names, but there is this really annoying person on Twitter that kept popping up on like my feed, trying so hard to like convince everybody that the song is actually about Marina because Lorde and Charli are friends. I just mentioned though, the song isn't a diss track, which this person didn't seem to understand. And because in the second verse, Charli says, "You're all about writing poems, but I'm about throwing parties. I think you should come to my party and put your hands up." Because Marina is releasing a poetry book on somewhere in October, I forget. That's why this person was also like, no, it's about Marina because Marina is coming out with a poetry book, like, and it's not about Lorde because the two of them are friends. Okay, we get it. So yes, there were theories, and that was like what really made Girl So Confusing separate itself from the rest of Brat, in my opinion, because like it's so clearly about somebody. You could say that a couple more songs are also about certain people, but I feel like I could make a video on that another time. But just recently, well, let's just say that on Charli's private Instagram account, 360_Brat, she released a snippet of Girl So Confusing, but then the second verse is literally Lorde. Lorde is singing. It's Lorde. It finally happened. The collab between Charli and Lorde. And what's even more amazing is that Charli, in the original song, there's a lyric that says, "The internet would go crazy." And guess what? The internet did in fact go crazy. So this is the present. This is now. This is why I'm freaking out over this. It's just a lot. It's huge, especially for us, you know, us Tumblr girlies, I guess I would say. So here we have it. The Girl So Confusing version with Lorde is what it's called, and it was officially released later that night. Everyone was able to have a closer look at it, a closer listen, and oh my god, this might be like the greatest song of all time, actually, dethroning Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd, in my opinion. Now, this is something that's like, I was emotional. I really did cry a little bit because this song is everything. When it comes to girlhood, this is everything. The two of them, Charli and Lorde, are such a good example of like how this actually happens all the time. What I mean by that is like friendships, and in this case we're talking about friendships between women. They do fall apart. There's drama sometimes, like shit happens, and in my opinion, I think like these kinds of friendships, when they fall apart, when things go wrong, it hurts way more than like, say, like a breakup between like a couple. Like, that's just my opinion because I love having my girlfriends, you know? With miscommunication, there's misunderstandings, and we all have our doubts and our insecurities, and it happens to me all the time. I'm like, does this person actually hate me? I try to be a friend, and then when we talk about doing this, doing that, it never actually happens. Are they just saying shit to be nice? You never know. But then you take it into accountability, and then you're like, oh my god, my anxiety needs to calm down because this isn't always the case. In fact, most of the time, there's always some kind of explanation because everybody is their own person and people go through shit all the time. So in Lord's lyrics in this remix, she is explaining herself and it is like the most wholesome thing I've ever heard. It is so raw. There is so much emotion to it because, well, I just understand. I get it. She's explaining that like she thought Charli was just always having a blast, that her life just seemed so awesome. She was afraid to be a part of it, afraid to be in the pictures. She would, you know, cancel their plans and she would feel bad about it, but it felt like she kind of had to do it to kind of save herself. She talks about how she struggled with her like body and her image, and she was like, I wanted to starve myself. I tried to make myself thinner, but I just gained all the weight back. Like, she's explaining what's been going on with her mentally. And sometimes shit happens to us, like we go through things mentally and it makes other people assume like the worst when it comes to like your relationship with one another. Am I making sense? I better be. It just, I really do think this is so healing. Like, this feels amazing. Everybody can relate to it. And the fact that they did this, the fact that it's been years and we have finally received this, and the two of them now seem closer than ever. You wanna know what's really, really good about all of this? Is that it encourages people to come forward. People who might share similar feelings. People who have also maybe had issues with Charli XCX in the past and thought this would be a good time to come out and say, you know what? I ride for you, Charli. Ow, okay. Lord said that. But Marina showed her support on Twitter. She tweeted about the song. She said it was beautiful, that she cried while listening to it. And she was like, oh, congratulations, Charli, on this new album. And she tagged her in it. Charli responded and she was like, oh my God, Marina, Tumblr girls rise. Marina responded again and said, crying, heart, 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 heart. This is what I meant. This is what I meant, you guys. Pop is healing. The world is healing. I love this. I love this so much. But also, here's the thing. I've seen Marina receive hate. I've seen some really mean tweets of people making fun of her. And they're like, why is she making this about herself? This ain't about her. Why is she receiving hate for supporting women? This is a good thing, you guys. Like, we don't need unnecessary drama. We want all the girls to come together because girl power. Like, come on. Yay, women. So yeah, that's about it because I've explained it. I've explained why I'm happy and why I'm over the moon. In conclusion, Charli XCX, you are something else. You are indeed something else. Like, none of this would have happened, you know, if it weren't for her. Like, she truly, like, I can't stress this enough. Lives have changed. Maybe now, we can have all of these women that I've been talking about, you know, because Charli said it herself, Tumblr girls rise. I'm sure more will come out of this. I'm sure now that everyone's cool and they talked, miscommunications are out of the way, misunderstandings are cleared, like, things are okay. Brat single-handedly made 2024 one of the best years ever. This is good. This is extremely good. That's all for today. My name's Doris Charming. Thank you for watching.